Welcome back, everybody. Today we've got a review from US indie house Rogue Perfumery. This is Tabac Vert. Okay, I sampled this last year. It was one of my favorite samples from the ones I tried from this house. So I did kind of impulsively buy a bottle of this based on one wearing. My opinion on it hasn't changed too much. What I've found with this fragrance is, though, each time I've worn it, it's a little bit of an enigma to me, and I've kind of been a little bit apprehensive about trying to review this, and it's mainly because in my head I'm trying to work out what I'm smelling, which is not a bad thing as far as perfumery goes, because I like that there's a little bit of mystery about some perfumes and it's not always obvious what you're smelling, even though there is the word tabac in the name of this fragrance. Tobacco, as I recognize it in a lot of other fragrances, doesn't exist in here the way it does in those. Not to say that there isn't any tobacco in here, but I find here the tobacco is probably really well blended with what there is definitely a moss accord here, oak moss. By the way, Rogue Perfumery does not abide by IFRA regulations on stuff like oak moss, so you will find probably real oak moss or more than is allowed in Europe quantities of oak moss in Rogue Perfumery. Okay, Tabac Vert. What I get in the opening is leather soap. Now, not a specific brand of soap that you clean leather with. It's a combination. I get a leather accord, a very light, clean leather accord that's almost like just being washed with warm, soapy water. Then there is also a carnation accord, but it's like all the spice has been removed from the carnation, if that makes sense. It's like I get the only aspect of the carnation is that kind of light floral part that gives this a kind of elevation off your skin. And in terms of the ingredients, like oak moss and the tobacco and the leather and even the carnation, it's kind of like all these ingredients have been cleansed of any lived-in aromas, whereas in some perfumes you can get the skankier parts of some of those notes, whereas here it seems to be all cleansed, which is not a bad thing. But this is, to me, a very refined, gentlemanly scent. There's nothing rugged or dirty about it at all, and it's not really like anything else I've smelled. Like I think if you like things like Guerlain's Derby or Hermes Equipage Geranium, this is kind of in that playing field, basically. Not the same, but I think if you like those type of scents, you could like a Tabac Vert. There is also, when this dries down, I'm just going to spray the opening because I've got it drying down on this one. When it dries down, it gets greener, but it's almost like this kind of. What happened when I was smelling this is I don't know about you guys, but I have occasionally found some dead branches or whatever out here and used them to light my brazier out in the garden to have a fire going. And sometimes the wood hasn't dried enough and it's still a bit too green to try and burn. And the greenness here kind of reminded me of that. And and not so much that it got smoky. It's just that kind of charred green wood, if you like, and there is this kind of cool pepperiness in the heart as well, and I'm not sure if that's coming actually from a pepper note or even from some really clean cedar woods that come from it. But what I will say is that it's all really well blended in that it's made it really difficult for me to pinpoint specific notes and say, yes, I'm smelling this. I smell things that remind me of geranium, of carnation, of woods, like sharp, clean woods. But at the same time, I don't get a lot of fuzzy spice or sharp or, sorry, everything, whatever spiciness here is kind of very rounded and cool. And there is also this kind of, right in the base, this really musky floral undertone to it all. But if I had to pick one word that describes this from top to bottom, is this just washed leather soap. I keep coming back to that. And I don't even want to I don't want to mislead anyone, because I wouldn't say this is a leather scent, but what I'm smelling smells like just washed leather. That's still kind of drying, if you can imagine that. Everything is clean about it. And it's like taking traditional masculine accords like oak moss and geranium, carnation, leather, tobacco, like rinse them all out to take all the dirt and grime away, and you're left with Tabac Vert. And so that clean sort of translates into green as well. It makes all of those things seem fresher, renewed, rejuvenated, rather than old and used, if that makes any sense to you. But the thing is, you get all of that, but in the whole, the development of this fragrance on my skin stays pretty linear and really pleasant to smell for the 8 to 10 hours that I can usually smell it for each day. And I think this is an eau de parfum concentration. I'll correct myself on screen if I'm wrong, but people also mention that this reminds them of Creed's vintage Tabac, which I've never ever smelled, and I have really no idea what it's supposed to smell like. But this is just lovely. It's probably not to everybody's taste. What I've described is kind of within the masculine perfumery tropes that have existed for years and years. But because it's got a different twist on it, I think some younger guys might like this. And I would say this is a really good year-round scent in terms of wearing in different seasons, and you can dress it up, and it's also good for casual, I find. But it's a good one. It's actually not my favorite from the house, because I think Dervish is that fragrance for me. But I do enjoy wearing this one, and I'll put the prices on screen. For this is a 60ml bottle. I think they do come in 30 and 60ml sizes, and again I'll leave that information on screen or in the description as well. But look, that was my review for Tabac Vert from Rogue Perfumery. I like the bottles too. They're the frosted glass. I'll just give you a close up. The cloth on the top and the embossed labels. If you've tried the house, let me know in the comments and tell me what your favorites are. And otherwise, I will see you all in the next video soon. Bye.